Hello, I'm Christiana and I'm from Romania. So I think I'm the youngest here, but I will take this as a very big advantage. I want to start this presentation by telling you a little story. Imagine a perfect world where humans and the environment live in a perfect balance. It is a very beautiful image, but in reality this doesn't exist. Instead, pictures of this type are present all around the world and are due to inefficient garbage collection systems. The waste we generate harms both people's health and the environment. Our solution is called Reciclon, and it represents the first platform in Romania which aims to make the process of waste collection more efficient. In our app, you can place an order. Wait, okay, the video. So in our app, you can place an order and a car will come to take the waste from your door. In order to make an order, you have to specify the type of waste and the number of bags you want to send, as well as the location and time the car should be there. Reciclon has several advantages, including real-time tracking up to the recycling center, as well as specified bags for all the recyclables. Our solution aims to raise the rate of recycling in Romania, which is 14%, up to the European average. We differ from our competitors through the modern, easy application, as well as the accessibility and transparency we offer to our clients. A main component of our brand is the educational part. So, together with my colleague, we founded a non-governmental organization. We organize workshops, conferences, events for high schoolers as well as students. And at the same time, we are running significant campaigns on social media as well as targeted online advertising. Our businesses is B2B and B2C, so our revenue is generated by businesses for which we have created monthly subscriptions as one-time pickup, and also we catered it for householders. So we have created and they will be available plans as well as pay-as-you-go. Our revenue is also generated by the recycling centers. We are looking for 120,000 euros for starting the activity and be functional in the first year. Our expenses are divided to develop the app and also to develop the logistic part behind. Thank you for your attention. My name is Cristiana Voiculescu, and together with my colleague Maria Dragulescu, we hope you will join us in making a change now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christina. You can hand over them to the volunteer. It's great to see young people taking the lead in their countries to change this world. This is amazing. I would like to move forward then to our second speaker. Hello. Sylviane from Le Printemps de Terres. Please, the floor is yours and 3 minutes to go. Good luck.
Hello. Can you hear me okay? Yes, good. Okay, hello, good morning. My name is Sylvain Goupil. I'm the co-founder of Le Printemps des Terres, which is my latest venture. For the record, I've been spending all my life in finance and climate, building companies, impact funds around nature-based solutions, climate and biodiversity. I've done that on a worldwide basis, Latin America, Africa, Asia, but really over the last few years, I've been thinking that acting locally was much more interesting. And so I set up Le Printemps des Terres to act very locally in France, in French also, although I'm speaking English today, and very locally. So basically what we're doing at Le Printemps des Terres, so it's a for-purpose company which was founded 3 years ago, and we finance and enable the transition towards sustainable land management. So we buy land. That can be ag land, farmland, that can be forest land, that can be conservation land, high conservation value land. We buy this land, we define or we co-build with farmers, with stakeholders, local stakeholders, a pathway to make this land productive and protective to align ecology and economy. We finance this implementation and we manage the land for a number of years. It can be 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, or forever. The business model that we're having is that we blend the conventional revenues from land, which is, rents or revenues from forest, as well as ecosystem services. Can be water, can be biodiversity, can be climate. And where we are quite good and quite unique in the world, I believe, is that we are in a position to assess quite precisely the ecological impact, again, carbon, water, and biodiversity, and to turn this into additional revenue for the farmers and for shareholders. Typically, when it comes to biodiversity, it's highly complex to monitor and to measure biodiversity. So what we've been doing so far is working with experts that you have on this screen, being CDC Biodiversity, the French National Natural History Museum, that are basically assessing our project and confirming that this project are good project for biodiversity. That's great. It's an amazing basis, but that's not enough. So we need to go to scale. So what we've done last year is that we set up the Organization for Biodiversity Certificates, which is gathering about 20 companies which are building a framework to assess certificate for biodiversity. And what we are launching now, that's the final time? Okay, and what we are launching this year is a prototype biodiversity certificate fund that will enable corporates, financial players, governments to try and to test practically what certificate for biodiversity means and how they are managed. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much. You can hand them over to the volunteer if that's okay. Thank you very much, and it's great to see that everybody is on time in this session. That's amazing, me included. Without further ado, I would like to invite on the stage our third solution, Eva from BIOMEDE, to talk about soil. Eva, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Eva Manguier, and I'm technical responsible for the company BIOMEDE, which is an alternative way to decontaminate the ground. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a statement, which is bad. It's that 1/4 of all the soils are potentially polluted sites in Europe, according to the FAO. And these have several impacts and consequences on first the environment, because there's a decrease of the soil's biodiversity. Then on the economy, with the decline also of soil fertility and has impact on yields, for example. And the last one, for humans' health, heavy metals are a problem because they can cause cancer, and they accumulate within organisms just like our bodies. So we ask ourselves first how to clean up contaminated sites in an economical and ecological way. So what I'm going to present today is the use of a thing called phytoremediation to remove heavy metals from soils. So we are a recognized innovation, which is with different things, the Natural Tech Award, Nurture the Future Award, and Top 15 World Deep Tech. The two co-founders are Ludovic Vincent and Patricia Giffu. They're both engineers, and they built this startup 5 years ago. And our expertise is first identified hyperaccumulative species, so to identify the maximum species which are naturally able to extract heavy metal from the soil. Then we also have a research and development team which is able to do, for example, varietal selection in order to improve the extraction of these plants. And we also have several projects, one in AI for the environment, in order to increase the knowledge around the soil and soil fertility. So thank you for your attention. This is already okay, finished. Now, what I can say also is that we want to combine this technique with other things which are in order to regenerate the soil, because actually our soils right now are in a very bad state, and we're trying to do that as soon as possible and as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eva. You can hand them over to the volunteers. Thank you. And I would like to mention something that I find it very interesting also in ChangeNOW, is that the speakers or the teachers don't have only one role. They wear different hats. So if you want to learn more about soil pollution, actually Eva is participating in a panel at 3 p.m. in the Circle stage to talk about more about health and climate. I would like then to introduce the next solution. So SeaForester LDA, and Jan, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Jan Verbeek, and I'm quite excited to introduce to you SeaForester today. SeaForester is an environmental impact company that has really made it its mission to restore the forgotten forests of seaweed in the ocean. But why seaweed? Now, Besides being beautiful underwater habitats, they provide a huge range of benefits and goods, services and goods to our economies. And there is an estimated now over $500 billion every year that comes out of these habitats as an economic benefit. And that is primarily driven by what we refer to as the fish story, the cleanup story, and the carbon story. So more seaweed in the ocean means more habitat for biodiversity, and part of biodiversity is the fish that we catch and eat. Seaweeds can also be seen as the filters of the ocean because they remove excess nitrogen that we're emitting, as well as other pollutants. And the carbon story is twofold. So one is that they reduce ocean acidification, which is becoming an increasing problem, and they also store part of that carbon they sequester in the deep sea for long-term carbon sequestration. But we have a huge challenge. We're losing these ecosystems along our coastlines at a really alarming rate. Over the past 50 years, we lost an estimated, or we degraded an estimated 50% of kelp forests, and many of them have also been lost. And in these regions, that was a dire consequence for marine ecosystems and their biodiversity, but also for local fishing industries. Now, they were wiped out in some regions, and this is a real economic as well as social issue. The problem is that the value and restoration needs have long been overlooked, and therefore current solutions are just too costly to really implement at scale. But SeaForester now has a solution, something that we call the Blue Front Yard approach. So we are building mobile seaweed nurseries to ensure local adoption as well as global reach of our solution. And with that, we really want to empower coastal communities to take care of the underwater forests in their Blue Front Yard, just the same way as they take care of forests and green spaces on land, so their green backyards. And how do we do this? With a revolutionary and low-cost seaforestation technique. So we seed seaweed spores on small stones, we cultivate them in our nurseries, and then deploy them across the seafloor from the surface of the ocean from a boat. And it works. We have demonstrated the success in Portugal, and we already have some small and large corporations, as well as some municipalities as clients. And we also got recognition from the Earthshare Prize last year, as well as being supported by the World Wildlife Fund. So in summary, the loss of seaweed is really a disaster for marine ecosystems, biodiversity, local fishing industries, and the climate. But that really drives and inspires us to be pioneering seaweed restoration. We are now looking for more clients and equity investors to grow our company and further develop our tools and technologies to really get this implemented all over the world and at scale.
Thank you so much, Jan. Great. Let's save not only our forests, but also our seaweed forests, right? Because we don't see them every day doesn't mean that they're not there or they're not important. Last but not least, in our round to close the pitching sessions is Shana from Endangered Wildlife. So please, the stage is yours.
Hi, my name is Shana, and I'm the CEO of Endangered Wildlife. We are an award-winning ESG consulting and software company that is trying to contribute towards solving the climate crisis by being able to use technology to demonstrate the value of biodiversity. Now, ESG reporting and sustainability is exploding, but often we are only looking at how do we solve the climate crisis, but we'll never solve the climate crisis without solving biodiversity first. But the problem is, how do you understand biodiversity? It's often overlooked, often misunderstood, because we don't understand the metrics. So this is essentially where we come in. We are developing a software solution that essentially allows you to understand biodiversity in a universal language, money. Now, why do we want to do this? Essentially, by doing this with money, we are able to calculate an ROI. We are able to integrate biodiversity directly within the reporting or the investment or the decision-making processes. And we are doing this through the Biodiversity Evaluator, which is the first and only machine learning software that allows you to calculate your biodiversity impact using credible and auditable data that we have developed and we are implementing through our own internal methodologies. Now, we've already done this as a consultant, and we are currently building it into a software which would allow you to do it autonomously based on a tier price SaaS model. Our team is quite multidisciplinary. We've got financial economists, myself, I've got background in finance and in conservation. We've got IT, we've got ecologists, we've got marketing. And we're all very, very passionate about what we are doing. The market opportunity is there. We are niching our own, or we're creating our own niche in the $1 billion ESG software space. We're already dealing with NGOs, with companies, with private individuals, with social enterprises, and the target market is effectively endless. Already to date, we are award-winning. We've also been finalists and semi-finalists in multiple events. We've already applied this to 139 individual species and 3 richness case studies for clients. And we essentially see ourselves continuously growing and growing. And this is the opportunity. This is a way for us to literally take responsibility for biodiversity, accept that biodiversity is an economic contributor, an economic citizen. So instead of just worrying about what is happening elsewhere, be interested in how do you integrate biodiversity here. This is what's important. It's no longer an excuse to ignore biodiversity, and through us, we are able to assist you to value all life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sana, and please stay on the stage. So we're getting into our Q&A session. So I would like to invite all the pitchers on the stage, and we will have about 6 minutes. So it's, oh, yes, then I can keep that, and you can get the headset. Oh, I can keep also that. Perfect. Great. So try to keep your questions and your answers as concise as possible so we can have as many questions as possible. I would like to go with popcorn style, so whoever is ready, pop up with your question to the... You can start. Sure.
Thanks so much for all of the wonderful presentations. Really exciting things that you're all working on. Maybe just as you went last, endangered wildlife, I really like how you're going from this consultancy, so you have the deep knowledge, to then building something more scalable and tech-enabled using machine learning, and also that your data inputs are auditable. You mentioned a lot of different potential customers. I wonder for your go-to-market, who are you focused on? Who's the sort of first ones willing to pay for this? Where do you see your market for the first part of your journey?
Thank you for the question. I'll just take off. So essentially, our go-to-market strategy was to go after real estate companies and agriculture. Essentially, we've been doing a lot of speaking, a lot of presenting. We're getting a lot of companies coming to us. So we've dealt with tech companies, real estate regenerative farming companies, plantation companies, social enterprises, several NGOs from different perspectives. And essentially, we've had conversations with insurance companies, financial institutions, shipping companies. Everyone is coming to us because we literally are the only people who can offer the service. So it's less of us worrying who can we get, it's more of can we actually cater for everyone who's coming to us.
Thank you very much. I have a question for BIOMEDE. Do you work with laboratories, for calculate your impact?
No, we actually have our own research and development team, which that's the result we get from, but we don't work precisely with other labs for that. I don't know.
Thank you.
Echoing Jessica, thank you so much for all these amazing pictures. I have a question for Printemps and Terres. Can you talk through some of the metrics that you're using to measure the improvement in biodiversity year on year?
Okay, in few minutes, very complex, but what we've been designing is a habitat-based assessment, and whereby we look at different ways to assess the improvement of the habitat for different species that we measure over time, and this assessment is made on a participative process with experts all over the world or the local situation.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I had a question for Reciclon. All right. So you mentioned in your presentation that you have like a traceability map. So how do you get value from it? I mean, from your customer, why they consider that important?
Okay, so in our country, people don't trust the classical services because this all domain is private, and either you collect selective or not, people know that it comes just one car and it goes to the same place. So they don't trust the classical services because they don't offer transparency. So we integrate that part with tracking the car because we, in our business, is very important people to trust us. So integrate to solve the transparency and in the same time to be very accessible for accessibility for everybody.
Go ahead. Just have another question. I think for me it's important to understand a little bit more Le Printemps de Terres. Sorry. I'm pretty sure that you have heard this, but how do you differentiate this company from the eco-colonialism?
Okay, that's a good one. We are active in France and only in France, so colonialism is quite far away. It's not off the record, but it's still quite far away. And we decided to do this locally because actually you need to be local, with local owners, local farmers, local investors, understanding each other. So we don't, and we stay in France. That's it.
Super. One last question maybe, so we will have the time to...
Sure. So I really like the idea of SeaForester and that you've made it sort of play and go, mobile and scalable in that sense. I just wonder where your major market is, who pays for reforesting the ocean?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I'm always comparing this to land forest restoration, for example. So we're building our company very similar to for-profit companies that exist in that market space as well. So our clients, we already have some examples, but it can be corporations wanting to invest in terms of ESG policies. It can be national governments because it's a direct benefit for their communities. But also now we have recently gotten on board a large pet food producer, and they don't do this out of a reason for credits or ESG policies. They understand that if we restore these habitats in the ocean, it means more fish, and fish is a key ingredient of their product. And there will be more and more of these companies onboarding with us. We have several conversations already. So it's quite a diverse, I think, from government to corporations, as well as foundations that we already get support from. There's quite a lot of markets there. And in the future, there will also be carbon credits for these habitats that don't exist quite yet. There's more research to be done. But the main point is also the biodiversity thing. So
Super.
whether it be a biodiversity credit or some sort of
maybe some last question, like some.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm done.
Great. Thank you very much. I would like to ask the audience to give a big applause to our innovators and features here and the great jury. And I would like to invite you to the network area that you will have 30 minutes to continue sparkle this conversation.